how to harness your own personal power.
And how to gain more of it. And is it really worth the trouble?
Is it worth it? We'll soon find out. That's what we'll be chatting about
In this week's episode of Get Real with the English Sisters.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
And if you do enjoy this podcast, please feel free to share it with your family and friends.
Exactly.
We really do appreciate that. Yeah, it makes a difference, absolutely. So, personal power. I mean, why are we bothering even to talk about this?
I don't know, because everyone seems to talk about personal power now, don't they? It could sound like narcissistic.
Yes.
It could be just all about me all the time.
Well, yes, but if we think about it, personal power gives us the ability to understand and to control our own minds and our own emotions, as to say. So, having more personal power certainly does come with benefits.
Maybe it comes with the fact that you actually don't think about yourself so much when you do feel powerful.
Well, now you're trying to put a mind twist on this. You don't think about... Well, what happens is that you believe in yourself more.
Yeah. So
that even when you're in a particular situation where you normally would have more self-doubt...
Exactly.
And you can, you learn to trust yourself more. That comes with personal power, I think. You learn to understand the ability to trust yourself, and thus you can also trust others more as well because you believe in yourself. So if you hear something that's good advice from another person, you'll believe you can take that on for yourself.
Yeah, whereas if you're always doubting yourself, it can be difficult to know whether that advice is actually good or bad.
Exactly. And or whether you're always in victim mode, like you're always thinking, well, this hasn't worked for me in the past before, so why should it work now? Or I'm always unlucky. So what happens is that if you're going to lose out on opportunities. What happens when you gain more personal power is that basically you gain more confidence in your own ability to judge situations.
And to make decisions.
To make decisions and to catch opportunities when you see them. Because if you don't have this personal power, this strength within you, when an opportunity comes along, you might not be able to see it. Or you might not believe in yourself enough that you can take advantage of it.
Do you think that this personal power comes with experience, or do you think you have to cultivate it, or is it just a natural thing that's within us all?
I think it's probably natural when we're born. We're all confident enough in ourselves to be able to start taking those first steps. But then what can happen, as we all know, is that when we grow up, we all know that life throws things at us, family. We don't all have the ideal environment in which to grow up and that nurtures our self-esteem and cultivates our inner power. So stuff happens.
I remember thinking that people that have a lot of personal power, they always know what's right, kind of naturally. They always seem to know what's right for them, even if it's like quite a risky situation. They go for it
because they've got confidence.
Yeah, they're like motivated.
And what happens, even if
fearful?
Yes, and even if they do make a mistake, they'll learn from that mistake and say, "Hey,
they don't care."
No, they don't go judging themselves hours and hours and days and years. Even I did that wrong, and thus no. Next step, let's go ahead. They've got that kind of confidence. What can we do to get that kind of confidence?
They just put it behind them, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. I was watching that film about BlackBerry the other day.
Yeah. I saw that too.
And I was thinking about the guy that actually, he was
the CEO.
Did you see how shy he was?
How he was
so, he was really like afraid of speaking out. He didn't have the right
Yes.
vocabulary. He didn't have that personal
The
power.
founder, yeah.
The founder.
Yeah, I can't remember
Then
his
they
name
got
now.
then they got the other guy in that was the CEO
yeah.
to come, and he was all
The arrogant one,
He was all arrogant, and I'll make a phone call, and I'm going to get this done, kind of thing.
We did get things done, didn't he, as well?
Push, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly needed a push. Yeah, he didn't actually have.
He didn't have all the creativity.
No. He didn't have like the personal power within him to really go for it at the beginning.
He was very shy, and he would have come to nothing in the end. They would a BlackBerry might not have ever been developed.
No,
I don't know how true that story is, but I think it's based a little bit on truth.
Well, it says it's a film based on reality. I mean, I just watched a film last night, so I should remember it really clearly, but. I don't know, but I do remember it more or less, and definitely I did remember thinking, gosh, that new CEO that comes in, he's very arrogant and rude and very like cliche of the time. Rude and that, but I mean, certainly he did believe in himself, because he went to the bank, he got the credit, he put his house on, he mortgaged his house, he did everything that he believed in that project, even though he'd just been sacked from his previous job.
He had been. So
that's an example of somebody with a lot of self-belief.
Well, he believed in what he was doing, and he thought he probably didn't have much choice either, because he thought, if I don't do this, but he was like a go-getter, so he thought, I don't just want to be like cleaning dishes or whatever. I want to be somebody.
He had probably the idea that taking action is better than not taking any action at all, and just sitting in the cupboard and crying and saying, I've been, sacked now and I've lost my job. And he quickly took another step. Of course, we don't all have to be like that.
No, of course not. He was very rude.
Yeah. He was really horrible, because they had this really calm work culture, where it was more play culture than work.
They weren't doing much work except for the odd thing.
Yeah.
But they were getting some things done.
Yes.
Some things done. Anyway, personal power comes from within, does it? It does, but I think you have to work on it, like everything.
Well, yeah.
And I think you have to surround yourself with people that inspire you and motivate you
and support you.
They say you are like your five people that are next to you.
That you frequent.
You become like
your
the five
friends.
people you frequent.
Yes, that is so true. Gosh, that is so true.
So you have to make sure you're frequenting the right kind of people that are going to give you that power, not people that are going to be pushing you down and putting you down.
Well, I think when you do have more personal power, you've also got the ability to be more optimistic about life in general. Which is not
sure of yourself.
Yeah, which is not something to take just to ignore.
Because I think when you don't have personal power, you doubt yourself a lot. So a lot of the time you're spending on thinking about yourself and doubting yourself, doubting your decisions, doubting who you might be, doubting your relationship. You're always in doubt, always in fear, instead of living in abundance and in the opposite.
Yes, you've got more resilience to be able to face those challenges already, because the power within you gives you that resilience to go on and on, like what we were saying in that film. I mean, you might not have seen it, but it's interesting. He gets sacked, loses his job, and then he has the resilience to be able to go on and quickly jump on to the next opportunity. He sees an opportunity and he grabs it. Yeah. And then BlackBerry does do very, very well.
Yeah, he grabs it by the horns.
Exactly. He sees an advantage, he sees that's an opportunity and he'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, and he sells himself so well.
Yeah. And actually, a study on power led by the social psychologist Adam Galinsky also suggests that personal power frees a person to listen to others without abandoning a personal vision. Power also increases creativity and makes it easier to ignore bad advice, even if it comes from a very important person.
Yeah, because we do tend to, if you're not that sure of yourself and you're not living within your own power, like you don't know what you really want and who you really are. you're going to be very like gullible. You're going to be, even if someone in a position of power says something to you,
exactly, a very important person in your life,
that you're going to listen to them. And sometimes it is bad advice.
It's bad advice. Don't do that. Do this.
Another film I was watching said that the wife moved in with her mum. And basically, the mum was breaking up their marriage because she was so interfering, and the mum was giving her all this advice that wasn't wrong for her. Yeah. And in the end, she realised it. And she said, "Mum, I'm sorry, but you have to move out because this is hurting my marriage."
So now, yes, we can see all these wonderful things but how does one gain more personal power? What do you actually have to do to get it if you feel that you're lacking?
Yeah, I think you have to sit within yourself, and it goes down to mindfulness again. Down to being with you and like maybe writing down your goals, writing down what you want.
Exactly.
Looking into yourself for a minute and thinking, okay, why, and ask yourself maybe why have I always doubted all my decisions? Why am I always doubting myself? Why am I always, is it anxiety that's getting to me? What is it? Is it maybe the way you've been brought up, someone in your life that has always been putting you down?
That's right. Get to the root of why you always need approval as well. Yeah. Get down to the root. Why is it that you need other people's approval for things? Think about that for a while. You have to sit with yourself and ask yourself these questions, like what you were saying, that they're fundamental.
Yeah.
They are. They're very, very important. I
was listening to a podcast this morning with the Diary of the CEO, and he was saying that the best 7 hours he's ever spent was on a lake in a tiny little boat.
Really? There you go.
And he was just by himself in the rain and in the cold and
just thinking.
Fishing. And he said, I didn't catch anything, so I was just by myself with the elements, and just my mind was just allowed to wander and just
become clear.
Just become clear and just to think clearly. Because
imagine if you go on that fishing trip with the aim to gain more personal power, with these questions in mind.
Yeah.
And you can ask yourself, what are all the achievements I've already achieved?
Yeah.
Think about everything you have already done. And no matter what you've done, it's always a lot more than what you think you've done.
It is.
And also, make sure that you give yourself credit for those innate gifts that you just ignore. Like maybe you're really clever at doing something and you ignore it, but you just say, no, I'm really good at that.
There's another lady, the one that invented Skims. She was on another podcast.
What's that?
Saying
It's like
an underwear thing.
Okay.
But she's got a company anyway, and she said she's created a multi-million-dollar company.
Really?
And she came from a very poor background. She said she was the older sister. She grew her siblings up, practically didn't go to school.
She raised them all.
But she said the thing that she had was being able to recognise when she lacked talent and to get someone in to do the work for her.
That was a good
skill. And her amazing skill was that she could organise stuff. So she was very good at organising. She could manage and organise things and know when to get things done. So she used that to her advantage, and she's done so well. But she was saying, never doubt yourself. If you have an idea, go for it.
Yeah, and don't ignore these innate little gifts that you've got. And we all have them. Don't just dismiss them. No, they're part of your achievements. That's part of something that's really valuable to you as a person.
Yeah, you might be really good at, like, I don't know, organising things like she was. And you think, well, that's not an actual skill, but it is a skill.
Maybe you can read really fast, or you're really good at tidying up, or I don't know. There's something you're going to be good at.
And it's usually the things that you take for granted.
Yes, you just don't even know you're good at them because they just come so easily to you. Those are part of your innate gifts, and you have to give yourself so much credit for them and let them nurture your sense of being and your sense of personal power. And you've also got to watch out for any toxic relationships. Definitely. Sorry to say this, but they can be detrimental to you gaining more personal power. You've got to watch out for them.
They stop you from moving on, don't they?
They do. There's always that's
why they always say if you have a great idea or even a tiny idea, just keep it to yourself as a little seedling.
Yes.
And then water it by yourself or with someone that's close to you that shares your same vision. Because a lot of people might want to, without even realizing it, subconsciously they won't want you to change because they're afraid of change. So they're
afraid of losing you. They want to keep you in the little group
keep you
and keep you as the person they know. They don't want you to change and go off somewhere. Yeah. You're that person and you're important to their life in that quality, and they don't want you to change.
They want you to be available for them.
Yes, to be there and to be that person for them. The person they go and have coffee with on a Wednesday morning, or the person they call when they need that. And if you're going off doing something different, that might, for a moment change their idea of you or but then in the long run, you'll probably be an inspiration to them as well, especially if they're close friends and they're true friends, and they're not those kinds of friends that they're gonna appreciate the fact that you're committing to your values, and you can only commit to your values and your beliefs if you believe in yourself, because otherwise you'll just be swaying with the wind. One person says this, somebody else says that, you just lose yourself.
You do. And I think if you have personal power as well, you're more likely to be able to listen to different opinions, take on feedback without letting it offend you or letting it bother you too much.
No, because you have the confidence within yourself to think, okay, that was a criticism, but I can, that is so true, actually.
I know I can take that on board. I acknowledge that.
Yes.
Instead of just snapping back or just saying no or just blocking that person, or
you can really listen and listen with the learning state of mind.
With an open mind.
A mind that wants to learn. Speak. And you can also sometimes see through what that other person's saying. Maybe they're irritated, they're not in the right kind of mindset when they're saying it, or maybe there is something that I must analyze, something that's happened to me or something that I do personally. And we all do things that we can improve on.
We can. So let us know what you think. Are you going to take on your personal power, or have you already done so? We're going to be working on it, taking more on.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I think it's, once again,
it's
a lifelong thing, isn't it?
It's constant.
It doesn't just end one day.
No, it's like a skill that requires, it's like a muscle. Yeah. You have to exercise it, utilize it.
Work on it.
And, yourself, like what you said. It's something.
And also, I think you need to have and respect your own personal power. You need to be able to set boundaries so that other people don't infringe on your own personal power.
I agree with that.
Don't infringe on it.
Because you need space. You need space in which to think, to have your own. And if you don't have boundaries and you're always doing things for other people, or other people are always in your space, that can
be damaging.
That can have, yeah.
So, unleash your creativity, water your personal power, and let us know how you're feeling and how powerful you're feeling right now, or how you feel as if you need a little injection of power. Just send us a text or come and see us on YouTube as well, where we have the video version of the podcast. And lots of love and smiles from the English Sisters.
We are therapists and we are here to help. So do let us know.
We are.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.